We'll be back from the break. You're still watching STARTIMES Business. I'm Andrew Barriga with Jerome Paulson this morning. Of course, driving your business, giving you the latest updates in relation to business. Very key and important for decision making and implementation to enhance profitability of your enterprise. But of course, before we proceed, don't forget the markets on the Zabo platform. Just a few minutes left. It's a countdown now for the markets to start operating. Now, the question is, what do I need to do to be a part of this? It's quite simple. *292# is the code for you there, which will avail you with a number of options, where you will be in position to buy government bonds and securities for just 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Now, the markets will open at 8:15 and they close at 3:15. This is effective Monday up to Friday, apart from the weekends and the public holidays. *292#, register with your national identification number, and definitely you'll start your day with trading bonds and securities. 15,000, but you can still choose to invest more than that. But Zabo simply says, well, let's grow together. Bring 15,000 as you grow, slowly by slowly. That's why it says my money, my future. And All East Africa says do something new. It's the year 2023. Well, right about now, let's get into our business tips and quotes as a way out to inspire you as a young and vibrant entrepreneur. Success depends on how you spend your life. Only one way to success. You determine your success. Nothing else does that. Well, now, away from that, now let's switch over to our social media trends and see what's happening in there. And of course, this time around, you're looking at Rwanda. Yes, this is Muhammad. I'm saying Wasali. Anyway, it says the jogging track in Kigali is coming out super nicely. Impressive how the city is promoting healthy living through night marathons. And of course, we see car-free days and now dedicated tracks. Beautiful.
I think this is something that they started off this year, actually last month, when it comes to laying out these tracks for physicals to help out, especially running tracks to help out people who do physicals in the morning, to help them do physicals in the evening time, to actually keep healthy, fit residents within the capital. So because we have the official time, by the way, in Rwanda for offices from 9 to 5. 9 to 5
a.m. to 5.
Not 8. It was actually changed last year simply because parents need to have time to take their children to school. These are some of the provisions the government actually highlighted. And of course, parents also have to spend some time with their children. So by 5, you're back home. At around 7, you're running. If you can't afford gym, you use those tracks, which is more healthier. Even in the morning, if your work office starts at 9, 6 in the morning, you're running. By 7, you're on the road driving. If there is some traffic, which is again minimal in countries like Rwanda because of the road networks and of course the timely running of the city, you get to realize that by 8 30, you know you're at work. So you can easily see why Kigali is actually moving so fast as one of the most ideally inspirational cities across the African continent.
And you see, when you're healthy, you're also productive.
Exactly.
It explains why how they are. Okay, of course, that the previous was about Kigali during day and Kigali during night, and now this is Morenzi at M. Abdelaziz. He says Kigali is among the cleanest cities in Africa, but without them it would be nearly impossible. I mean, he's meaning the people that are cleaning. Yeah, I'm seeing people really doing a great job there to make sure. You know, when you mentioned that official time is 9 a.m., so I'm imagining morning shows in Rwanda start at 9. That's the
no. For the morning shows maybe around 6 because radio and broadcasting is quite a different thing. But the official time for
reporting to work
was a little bit changed simply because of the time most of the parents spend with their children, and of course the time when it comes to the rush hours a couple of times, and they, of course the government wanted to eliminate this 8 to 5 kind of working environment whereby someone has to be in there, but of course there is also companies that offer shifts, working in shifts. So you may find out where morning shift starts at 6, maybe the other by 7 it's actually done, and of course this is to as well encourage productivity because encouraging productivity, working in shifts for countries like Egypt, whose economy never sleeps, by the way, you get to realize that even nighttime there are other sectors of the economy that are still operating. And of course, by 8 p.m. in Egypt, it's like it's 6 because even the time zones. There's a very funny part about the fact that it never gets dark by 8. So by 8, you'll find at least some of the financial institutions still operating. When you look at such an economy, whereby some people are working day shift, the others are working night shifts, it is an economy that never sleeps. But ours here, for example, is only characterized between 2. Because in East Africa, by the way, most of our working shifts end by around 7. 7 p.m. It's only those who are actually working in hospitals or those who are actually working on petrol stations or hotels, and those in the bars who work overnight. And of course, for those who work in the bars during daytime, they are not working. It's only a few of those who work. But when you look at what Kigali is actually doing as a city, I think Rwanda maintained the idea that you need to have a capital that is outstanding. Because if you have one of your major cities as Kigali, unlike here in Uganda where we have many cities, but of course there is only one which is having all the other sources of other offices and everything. But when you look at Rwanda, there are also other towns that are in there. But Kigali being the main focus, the government decided to make sure that at least if it's the main focus of our country, it has to be worth it. It has to be worth it. It has to have the offices, all these particular, services are supposed to be provided in there, and the city itself is supposed to be enjoyable. So the development patterns that are actually being put up is to ensure that the Rwandese benefit really.
I remember when somebody was telling me he was, this white friend of his that just reached Uganda, and they were traveling, and they reached at Mapera House around there, opposite Mabri's complex, and the white guy was asking, when are we reaching the capital city?
So he was surprised that it looks this way.
And this person told him that this is the capital city. For him, he was expecting. Okay, I was trying to think.
Maybe I think he was expecting buildings, skyscrapers and everything, which are very limited in Africa.
But
especially in Uganda. Especially Uganda's skyscrapers are very limited. All we have is arcades, and I want to believe our city is filled up with arcades.
Actually, it's arcades.
It's arcades.
And people are mistaking them to be...
it's actually arcades here. Unlike in Nigeria, where you go to cities like Lagos, Abuja, where there is a side which is filled up with skyscrapers, and then there is a side which is filled up with slums and everything. But here it's a mixture. Kampala is a mixture of everything. It's only when you go to uptown Kampala, Kololo, which is more silent, and of course the areas there are only corporate offices that are centered in there, and maybe a few parting, places. But in Uganda, I think most of the buildings that we have are arcades in the capital.
Arcades, actually, the arcades.
And very few malls. Malls are at the outskirts of the city.
Yeah, they're counted.
And then also, when you want to think of a building that you can look at and say it's a skyscraper, maybe you would want to say the church house.
Even the URA tower, actually.
Maybe, and of course that is away from the center of the city. So you can easily see why they're actually in such a situation.
The building actually they are setting up, I think along Nakasura route. It's not yet done, but it's
the one that is actually
like
around the Lumumba Avenue.
It's very, very huge. I believe when it's done,
it's giving us the vibes of a developed city. I think the other challenge that we have as a country is we have many cities, but we do not have replicas of Kampala. Because at least when you go to countries like Kenya, when you move to Kisumu, you'll ideally feel it is a city because they give you that feel of a part of Nairobi. They have some replicas of Nairobi. As you go to Mombasa, same thing. So when you look at countries like Kenya, they have at least 1, 2, 3, 4 cities that want to emulate the capital city. So that means if someone is going to walk away from Nairobi, they still feel like they are, within Kenya and they're having a good life.
Perfect.
But here in Uganda, if someone invites you to go and work in, let's say, Gulu, first of all, you're going to say maybe it's it's not as
it's not as good as there is a feeling atmosphere. You feel like there is something different.
There's something different with the atmosphere. Unlike when it's a huge paycheck, but you'll still be forced to say, I need to get back to Kampala over the weekends or when I'm free. But there are some countries where someone is working from a place and you don't even feel like going to
another state or
because
going to visit
people who are staying in Mombasa don't even wish to go in Nairobi. People who are working from Dar es Salaam don't wish to go to Dodoma.
Yes.
Because they are the services are there. The social services are the same, and the transportation networks, even the entertainment life is okay. They only travel to the capital city maybe when they are going to see loved ones. So you get to realize that kind of situation. And I think when you look at Uganda, the city that can actually bring it out now is maybe Mbarara. But obviously because the people who are in Mbarara are more comfortable being around Mbarara in there. And of course we also have people who are more comfortable to do their business in Mbale. But again, the atmosphere doesn't feel the same with Kampala.
There is a service
that is why most people only leave Kampala during the festive season. And I think this is what the government really needs to work upon to clearly see that
population distribution.
So that we can have the same quite a number of productivity in various cities
and reduce congestion.
Exactly,
absolutely true. Well, away from that now, let's briefly get into some update here in regards to road safety concerns. As we see that over 4,000 people die in road accidents every year. More efforts are needed in educating and enforcing, of course, laws at the same time. And now this discussion is with Honorable Richard Sebamala, MP Bukoto Central. But after this, yesterday the Iran president, after his State House press conference, he happened to go to Chengera to launch a certain laboratory that is from some university known as Mustafa in there. Of course, when we return from this, we shall be delving deeper into that. Just keep tuned.
We all know that we are losing more than 4,000 people in road accidents every year. 4,000 people die of accidents. I think there's no disease that has killed as many people as 4,000. Okay, we can talk about malaria, we can talk about the 64 that die of cancer daily, we can talk about pregnancies and mortality rates, but it is becoming a problem. Road accidents, the aspect of road accident has 4 major aspects. The major aspects, one, as everyone blames others, it's about the roads, the engineering, the fact that the road designs do not fit the current traffic on the roads. So you find that the vehicles that are being produced today are wide. Vehicles that are wider than they were before. The road designs that are being made today are narrow. You find that most of the roads have potholes. You find that there are very sharp bends at different spots on the highways and in the villages. You find that there are vertical bends that people do not actually know. People overtake when they have a vertical bend ahead. So these are things, because with engineering you have horizontal bends and vertical bends, and all of these are not taken into account when they are working on these roads. So the engineering aspect covers all aspects to do with the nature of the road, its width, its bends, it's the nature of traffic that moves on the roads, how big the trucks are, how long they are, the weight of those roads, the potholes and everything. Then we also have the issue of education. You find that everyone is learning how to drive from a different place. Others are learning in compounds, others in fields, others are learning on the highways, others are learning on tractors, others are learning in lorries, others, in the villages, in rough roads. Everyone learns how to drive from wherever, and when they go to be certified, to be given permits, it's just a simple test. It's a simple test that where somebody has not been trained or has not gone through a formal training that everyone should go through. So the driving skills and the road behavior and the driver's behavior is different on the road, because everyone has a different school of learning. So that means as one is braking, the other one is accelerating. As the other one wants to take a bend at maybe 50 kilometers per hour, the other one feels they can pass at 100. So the problem with not having a consistent syllabus for all drivers that are in the country makes it very hard for everyone to do what? To drive the same way and have the same road behavior on the road. Then we have the issue of emergency response. Yes, accidents can be there, but how near are the emergency facilities? Ambulances, movable ambulances, okay, movable emergency response like ambulances. Or how close is the accident scene to the hospitals? Because now you find that hospitals are 20 kilometers away, 30 kilometers away. There is jam, there is everything. It's a one way where there is a truck that is carrying, you're hurrying to take someone to hospital, but it's the same route that is being taken by a truck of sand. It is the same route that is being taken by somebody that is going to say girlfriend. It's the same route that is taken. So everyone is on the same road. So you will find that actually, before even you reach the hospital, somebody has died. But even the vehicles themselves do not have first aid kits that you can treat someone. And it has become a behavior that when instead of emergency response, when people have an accident, everyone is just taking pictures and others are just taking videos and spreading around for likes and something like that. So you find that the problem of emergency response has also become one of the reasons why people die at accident scenes. First aid knowledge at the scene. Very few people are trained in first aid. So actually when somebody goes for an accident, they just die. Then there is an aspect of enforcement. Now this goes to one, the training of the traffic officers themselves. Then after their training, the remuneration of the traffic officers that are in charge of seeing that everything is right on the roads. How much are they paid? How are they dressed? What are their problems? So are they enforcing the laws in the acts or in the constitution? Are they doing their work? So you find that are they, when somebody gets on the road, do they respect the people that are enforcing this thing, or they just make calls? You talk to so and so, talk to so and so, you talk to my elder brother. Because why don't people follow the law? Why don't people that have done something on the road go through the whole system up to court or pay very heavy fines? And heavy fines are not a remedy to road accidents. Actually, the remedy to road accidents is court and prison, such that these people do not do it again, even if it is for a week, 2, or a month. this person will be very alert because they will not want to go back to the coolers. But if you think that road fines will deter road accidents, then that is a very wrong mentality. A very wrong mentality. So the enforcement will not work because it will be a balance between how much do I pay when I am over speeding and how good is the deal that I'm going to I'm pursuing at a particular time. If I'm going to get 10 million, paying 200,000 or 3 or 2 million as I move, I mean that's very little money for as long as I am there in time. Meanwhile, I'm over speeding, I'm overtaking at wrong lanes, at wrong places. I'm doing very many things. I'm, not catering for the third party that is on the road. I'm driving in a one way. So at the end of it all, it comes to the three aspects of on the road. One, the road user. Because before even enforcement, do they have what they need? Do they have breath analyzers? Do they have masks when they're on the road? These people are inhaling fumes every single day. They're having health problems and everything. Are they properly facilitated to be on the road? So it goes back to the three people that are the three aspects that are on the road. One, the driver is in their sober mood. Are they stressed? Do they have particular illnesses like pressure, diabetes, or whatever? Is the set of the driver the right one to drive on the road? Don't they have problems at home? Don't they have extra stress? Then the second party is the vehicle itself. Is the vehicle in the right condition? Because that one goes back to the engineering. Is the vehicle in the right state? The brakes, the headlamps, the reflectors, the indicators, the seat belts, everything. Is the vehicle in the right state? The engine, is it moving at the right speed in the right spot? Then it goes to the third party. That is the other road user, the pedestrian. Are they walking in the right direction? Because the pedestrian is supposed to walk facing the flow of traffic. If they are moving if you're moving on the left-hand side of the road, you should be moving to the right. Because if the vehicles are going on the left, you should be moving back. You should be facing the flow of traffic as a pedestrian. Is it what you're doing? How are the boarders using the road? How are the other road users using the same road as you go? How are you mindful of other road users as you're driving? So the aspect, the meeting tomorrow, or the meeting that the speaker has called, had to have almost all of those. For enforcement, we have internal affairs. For the engineering, we have Ministry of Works. For the emergency response, we have Ministry of Health. For the education and what we needed Ministry of Education to be in place, because they are the ones that are supposed to be certifying the driving schools. You understand? So we needed them to also be in place. So now these are the different aspects, because bringing OPM is not everything. It is about these particular ministries coming in with all their stakeholders to make sure that everyone plays their part, and then it again rests on the individual that is driving.
Well, that's matters to do with safety, of course, on the road. But anyway, away from that, as I told you earlier, something quite remarkable and interesting. As yesterday we had the supreme leader of the nation of Iran, the Republic of Iran, of course, with his tour in Africa. 2018, Donald Trump sanctioned Iran, and the nation has been in some sort of an isolation in that. But little had we known that, because Iran, in March, still had issues with Saudi Arabia. Remember, Saudi Arabia is more of an American sort of, they're into good relations. But in March, they got together. So they have relationships with China, Saudi Arabia, and now they had to take it to a whole new level, come to Africa. Because there are lots of very, very, there is virgin territories to be exploited in Africa. Oil, inclusive, and even so many other aspects. Because when he went to the State House, after addressing the state with the President Yoweri Museveni, he came all the way to Chengera to launch a tech hub that is in Al Mustafa University in Chengera, a Muslim-based and Iran supported university. That, so you can see the Arab world in terms of partnership to enhance the value chain of the tech industry. So the images you're looking at there is the arrival time. Of course, it was quite a time of pressure. As a result of that, now there he was heading towards the lab to take a look at the innovations which are being put up by these students.
He's in our Caribou, East Africa. Just before he actually passed here, he was in Kenya.
Yes.
So you get to realize how much these countries. I didn't mention something about how these countries, that is especially countries from the Eastern, what you could call the Eastern
Bloc.
Or the Eastern Bloc.
Or the Communist Bloc.
Yeah, the Communist Bloc, and even the Middle East, trying to as well build these relations with African countries. Now you get to realize that here in Uganda, Iran is said to support oil refinery.
Exactly.
The oil refinery project here in Uganda. It is meaning the East African Crude Oil Pipeline project.
East Africa oil. And actually, I remember last time even when some of the stakeholders from the from Iran's government met with the president before. Actually, as they were planning this visit, some of the aspects they talked about, yes, oil, there was also pharmaceuticals, medicine. But during the time when it comes to Uganda developing its own vaccines, COVID, some sort of that. And well, I believe it's a partnership that if we take wholeheartedly, it's one whole thing for the president. He would have sent a representative actually, but the president of a nation like Iran, which is not a minute country, of course there are allegations by some of the world, most especially the Western Bloc, linking him to militants, in support of terrorism. There is a good example you've heard of the Hezbollah militants. Those are allegations from the West, and of course, I think it's time we also get to realize that with the Western sanctions being put on, on the Communist Bloc, we get to realize that the Western is kind of works against Africa. And now, as Africa, we need to also look for countries that are on our side, that feel what we feel. In that way, we shall be able to really rise up. And surprisingly, they want to, all these transactions between Uganda and Iran, there was a discussion that they should be carried out without the use of a dollar.
So that, again, it goes back to the dollarization as agenda. Of course, even with President William Ruto having, of course, the same push of ensuring that if countries are to, to trade amongst each other, they should use their own currency. But if you're trading with let's say a Middle East country, you're exchanging goods and services by the use of your own currency. So that you have to only you eliminate the use of getting a US dollar to again change to let's say the Iranian currency again for the Ugandan to change back to the Ugandan currency. Rather, this one would be you just send to the Ugandan in a Ugandan currency, the other one just changes into theirs, and also comes the same situation comes into this one. I think this is going to be another big economic kind of change of things, and of course we shall see how African governments and other countries who are also following up on the same matter will be upholding this particular move of eliminating the use of dollars, especially when dealing with foreign exchange.
Absolutely, very true and amazing in there. Let us see how this really turns out to be. It's 2 minutes to 8:30, and now let's get into the break. When we return, business and entertainment in sports.